guys, Yao from LunarLink here, and in this video I want to talk about why AI is not going to replace software engineers, specifically because that's my area of expertise, but also it probably won't replace artists, doctors, lawyers, photographers, or anything like that anytime soon, at least as of October 2024. And before I delve into this video, I want to share the motivation for why I wanted to make this video. Is because especially over the past few weeks, my inbox has just been flooded with AI content. So you got Bill Gates going on Stephen Colbert talking about AI, and some guy quit their $200,000 job to work on pair AI, and every second video recommendation I get is some guy making a tutorial on how you can make the next $1 million app with Cursor IDE and V0. It's just part of the hype train, right? And clearly the hype train is running on full steam. And so as a software engineer who has worked on a QR code ordering system and currently working on LunarLink, I just wanted to, and as someone who has forced himself to use AI over the past year to understand it better. By the way, when I'm talking about AI, I'm talking about large language models like LLMs specifically, but I'm going to use them interchangeably for this particular video. So I just wanted to share my opinion on all of this hype, which is that most of it is just hype. Like if you're someone who's studying to become a software engineer or something like that, don't stress too hard. It's probably not going to replace you or take your job. And before I delve into the reason, let me go into a little bit of a backstory of my experience with AI and why I have formed the opinions I have formed. So 2 or 3 years ago was when ChatGPT 3 first came out. And when it first came out, it was pretty mind-blowing technology. Like nobody has seen anything like it before, or not at that performance. And especially for me, it was something very new. I thought it was super cool, but I didn't really use it for anything or never used it consistently for anything. But it was really at the start of this year when I seriously attempted to use GPT-4 for everything, right? So literally every question I had, any question I can think of that I've encountered in my life, I would stop myself from going to Google or a friend or anything like that and just force myself to ask the question on ChatGPT, just to play with it a bit more, see what it's good at, see what it's not good at, and understand it better. This was also when I had the idea of building LunarLink. So I don't want to just test the best of ChatGPT, what if Claude is better at a certain task or Gemini is better at a certain task. So I built LunarLink AI as part of an effort to compare the results simultaneously and see which one was actually better. So yeah, anyway, and in a future video, I'll delve into detail what my personal experience has been with the use cases of AI and what it's good at and what it's not so good at. So stay tuned for that video. But at least in my past year of experience, I can summarize why AI is not good enough to replace human experts, specifically in coding, into 3 major reasons. So the first reason is hallucination, and it's probably the most talked about flaw of AI, which is that sometimes it will really confidently make something up and feed you the completely wrong information. And the example I have is something I encountered yesterday actually. So for those of you who are IT people or DevOps people, I was trying to set up a Nginx reverse proxy on a server, And then it told me that in the configuration file for the Nginx, you can put add header inside the scope of the whole server. So me being a complete noob at Nginx, I just followed what it did, and then it just hit an error, and it's totally wrong. Like, it's not actually something you can do. So, and I think that perfectly illustrates the point. All right. So to someone who's not an expert in IT or DevOps or Nginx, you will often just believe, you just take it at face value and you just completely believe it because you have no idea otherwise. And that can lead to some disastrous results. In this particular case, it just it immediately told me it was wrong. But if I was writing some mission critical code that sometimes works but sometimes doesn't work, then this is a big problem, right? And a common counter argument I see a lot online is people saying, oh, but humans make mistakes too. But I guess that's not really the point. So because when a mistake like that happens, it takes a human expert to identify the error and fix the error. And identifying the error is actually a really hard part, right? So you have, and so you imagine you have all of these like non-experts running around doing work with AI, which I have experience of just a few months ago, of non-coders contributing to a code base with AI, and it's not great. The result is not that great. So to that point, hallucinations, big problem. Even with the newest, most advanced models like O1 and things like that. In fact, I would say in O1 this problem is actually a little bit worse, because during its reasoning, if it gets the wrong idea in one of the earlier steps, the future steps are just all messed up. At least in my experience. And that leads me to the second point, probability. So LLMs work on the basis of next token prediction, right? So given a set of tokens, it will try to predict what the next token is. So for example, the cat in the, the next token has a high probability of being hat, right? Or maybe something like house. So these two words have a high probability of occurring. And this approach fundamentally is not the same as reasoning, right? Some people claim that it is reasoning, and it is an active area of research. So take that with a grain of salt. But in my understanding and my view, I think this sort of probabilistic approach is useful for a lot of things, and it clearly has performed well in certain tasks, but it's far from real reasoning, right? And in real reasoning, for example, if you're solving a maths problem, there is a limited set of solutions that has to be arrived at with like actual rigorous proof, like A proves B proves C. Like, you can't sort of fumble your way through that with probability, like with trying to generate tokens and probabilistically, at least in my view. And as for my personal experience, sometimes when I provide instructions to LLMs, sometimes it would follow my instructions perfectly, but sometimes given the exact same set of instructions, it would just not do it. Like, it would just give me something that's totally different. So that's been my experience, and that's why I think probabilistic, like this sort of whole probabilistic approach, probably isn't good enough to replace real experts, and we need just a different sort of mechanism to actually provide human-like reasoning and logical thought. So that kind of leads me to the third point, which is novelty. So in my experience, AI or LLMs are really, really good at problems they have seen before or trained on. So for example, a leak code question. So all leak code questions and the solutions are available publicly online, right? So when you have OpenAI and Anthropic and Google and all these companies, they write their web scrapers that scrape the internet and then feed it into the LLM for training. If you ask it any problem, or even any problem that's slight variations or combinations of the things it's been trained on, it can do them almost perfectly. That's why it's so scarily good in benchmarks, right? But whenever I try to get it to do something that's a bit more novel, or something that isn't commonly something that you would find online, for example, it really struggles, and you have to really like sort of take it step by step and really slowly prompt to your solution. And a lot of people would argue, you just need to be a better prompt engineer or something like that. But to be a better prompt engineer, you actually do have to be a good engineer first. Like, you have to be a good software engineer, or you have to be a good doctor, or you have to be a good lawyer or something like that. You have to know what you're looking for and essentially get it to sort of follow your instructions exactly. And in that sense, it can act as a sort of writing tool, I guess, but it's not really acting as the expert, and it's not really providing real intelligence, right? So with all of these things in mind, does AI just completely suck, and is it a complete waste of our time? Absolutely not. I'm not bagging on AI. I don't hate AI. I'm not a technology denier or anything like that. I'm someone who's developing an AI app right now, right? I think it's definitely a super, super useful technology, but only for certain use cases. And for example, if you wanted to write a particular configuration file, or write bash scripts, or maybe you wanted to come up with some names for a character in your story, or maybe you wanted to proofread your creative writing, or these are all just some examples of things that it really truly excels at, that humanity has never had a tool as good as large language models until this point for all those tasks. But the conclusion is, it's just a tool, right? It cannot replace experts. It cannot become true intelligence. So you gotta pick up your laptop from the bin and re-enroll in your Python course, because your ability to reason, troubleshoot, and ideate as a human programmer, a human expert, is still invaluable. So that's all for this video. If you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe. Please consider checking out Lunalink. I'll put a URL in the description. And please consider also supporting us on Patreon. And if you have any future video ideas, please put it in the comments. I always read those. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.